Hi, felting fans, it's Jules, and today we're going to work on the top coat of our senior black lab and start to fill in the rest of her body with black. This channel is all about needle felting, so if you want to see how I do things or if you want to share with me, please feel free to comment, leave feedback, subscribe, all that good stuff. Today, we're going to put the top coat on our little senior lab that we started last time, and I'm going to use some carded black wool to do that. Here is our senior lab, and I realized last time I did not fill in the hips. So since this dog is black with a bunch of gray, we're going to start with just really simple carded black wool because it's nice and the fibers are all mixed up and it felts real fast and easily. So I'm going to do like this and wrap the hips and start there.
I'm going to speed up this video a bunch of times just to make the whole process shorter, but you get the idea. All I'm trying to do now is just fill in everything with black. Later I'm going to have to specify what parts are gray, but I just want to cover the entire dog in black for now. Carded wool is really good for just covering the entire dog smoothly so that you don't see the core wool underneath.
So for her face, what you do is you cover the eyeballs like this. So see how they just look like weird and bug-eye right now? So obviously we don't want that. So what we do is we cover them up like this. And then find them in there. Fold it all down first. And then either cut them, I might have to cut them. Carded wool is very, all the fibers are stuck together, but there we go. And then you start to fold it like this around the eyeballs. So we're going to make eyelids, is what we're trying to do eventually. And I usually do this a bunch of times. Still looks weird now, but it will get better. You see that? Her nose needs to be longer too. So we're going to do this and wrap her nose up a little bit. Get the little arms out of the way for a second. And wrap up her face. So the eyes I always put on first. The nose I put on after I've added fur and stuff, because that usually goes right on top, whereas the eyes need to be set inside, like in their eye sockets. I'm going to wrap this around her snout, make it a little longer.
Basically, I'm just trying to build up her snout a little bit so it's longer.
For the legs, you usually do not use carded wool. For the legs, I tend to take merino wool or Corriedale wool or something with strands. Take like a little skinny strand that I could then wrap around the legs. So I'll anchor it here. And then, oops, then wrap it. Again, go a little over, then back.
With the wool that's slightly over the leg, you just tuck it into the end like this so that it's nice and neat and closed up. Then you just do the rest of the legs. I just wrap them all the same way until I get to the tail. I do that one the same way as well. Anchor it down and then wind it up. Have it go a little bit past the tail and wind it back down. Tuck it in, just like before with the legs. Then I just go back over the tail and the limbs and try to tuck in any wool that's sort of sticking out that shouldn't be there. So as you can probably tell by the state of my nail polish, it's been a while since I worked on this dog, but I've decided its snout still needs to be longer, so I'm going to add more wool and keep building her snout up. Now, using the same black carded wool, I'm going to start making her some ears. So the hardest thing for me is always the ears. I always make them too big, but I'm trying to make them into a triangle shape. This is just one ear, and so I'll start to kind of slowly shape it here by poking it into the sheet that's on top of my mat, and then later I'll get another one and match them so the ears will be the same size. And here you can see why I love using the sheet over the mat. So now I just put it on my dog's head and try to get a sense of where they're supposed to be, make sure they're the right size. And now I'm going to get another little handful of wool and try to match them. This probably isn't the best way to do it, but this is how I do it. It seems to work. I put the other one over, match them, and try to make the ears the same size. As well as being the same size, I want them to be the same thickness. So I keep feeling them and adding wool just so that they're the same thickness as well as the same size. Okay, now we have the black ears, same thickness, same size. I want to add a little gray to the edge so it is more like the senior dog look that we're going for. So slowly I'm going to start building up the gray around the edge of the ears. This gray is also carded wool. I'm going to slow the video down to regular speed so you can see how carefully I pull the ears up. You don't want to do it too fast because you could just rip them right out and then all of that work is for naught. So I'm doing this really carefully, kind of just pulling it off of the sheet, but it really does help to have that sheet to pull the ears off, and then you can flip them over and start felting again from the other side and just do it again. And I always feel them and see if they're the same thickness or not, and if I need to add more wool to one or the other. So then I'm just going to keep working on the ears so that they look like ears, and I will soon add them to our dog. Okay, I think they're pretty good and same size, same thickness. So now I just want to tuck in all of the loose wool around the edges. So I'm doing that by squishing the ear between my fingers and kind of risking poking myself. In one video, I did it through pieces of wood, which actually worked pretty well, but I find that tough because I can't really sense what I'm doing. So I'm just being careful and likely stabbing myself a couple of times. But what I really want to do is just make sure any loose wool is all tucked nicely in. Now that the ears are the same thickness and the same size, I'm going to use my hair straightening iron to flatten them out a little bit, but not too much. Too flat looks really fake, so just enough to make them smooth. And now it's a matter of attaching them to her head in the right place. So I left a bunch of extra fluff on the end, and I can use that to attach her ear smoothly to the back of her head. I feel like I've gotten better at attaching ears. I used to just put them flat on, but now I kind of try to make them curved to look a little bit more like real ears. So I try to poke them in like at an angle. Hopefully you can see I'm kind of curving it while I poke it in. Ears are really just the hardest for me. Okay, here I'm actually squeezing the ears a little bit to get that little fold you see sometimes with dog ears. So ears are not just straight. A lot of times they have like a little fold in them.
I have a habit of making my ears way too big, so I'm just kind of starting them here, and I'll likely have to keep fussing with them to squish them like this and make them smaller. But for now, it's fine.
And I'm realizing this video is getting pretty long, so I might end it and have this be part 2 and start part 3 on how to make her gray.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that was helpful and I hope to see you again in the future.